Usually we try to understand our trauma, as if by understanding we are managing to deal with it. When we try to understand our own trauma, we face the problem of memory, of interpretation, of trying to forget it, because a lot of us, when we go through a trauma, do everything to erase it from our minds and from our memory. So understanding is important, but it basically gives you the idea that yes, you went through a trauma and now you have to heal from it. And understanding leads to the next stage, that is, trauma happens in our body, happens in our emotions that are physical, in our sensations that are physical, and in the way we relate to the trauma, in the tension in our muscles, in the way we breathe, in the way we organize our thoughts. All of this happens in our body. So if we want to heal from trauma, the first thing you have to understand that trauma is a mixture of something very painful and very frightening as a context. Many types of pain, from emotional to very physical, many times of fear, from an idea in worry in your head to a terror that makes you shake and shiver and it's impossible to take, okay? So trauma is made from two forces that usually we are trying to do everything not to feel, that we relate to as something that is bad for us, and we are doing our best not to feel them. Now, if we don't learn how to relate to pain and fear differently, we are actually approaching trauma without the basics of how to digest, heal, recover, complete all those words for the trauma itself. In the moment of trauma, or over time, because traumas can take years also, we learned to do something in us that disconnected us from our body, and we managed to shift our attention to a place where, as if it doesn't happen to us, and we managed to live and survive. This created residues in our body, residues of efforts, residues of toxins, residues of tension, and all of this actually continues as if the trauma never passed. To manage to deal with all the impact of trauma on our body, we have to learn basic skills. You have to learn how to deeply relax, not just the general relaxation, but specific areas in the body that are related to this trauma. You have to learn to breathe differently than the breathing pattern that was created after the trauma. You have to learn to be able to pay attention to your body and not to be away in a virtual world that you created, not to be in life because of the trauma. So all the necessary tools that we actually need in order to struggle with trauma and win, we don't learn anywhere. We have to learn them from the beginning. And those things that we learn, like deeply relax, breathe better, open our attention not to what happened in the past, but to the present, all of those have very deep meaning in our life beyond the healing from trauma. But to heal from trauma, unless you know how to be afraid, unless you know how to breathe as much as you need, unless you can really relax the worry, the tension, the effort in your body, you don't have much chances, because trauma is one of the things that happened in your life. Your habits, the way you perceive yourself, your self-image, your attention to your body and to the world are all things that if you train them well, trauma is a possibility to heal from, and it's a possibility to grow, not just to heal from. Because to heal, you have to grow your abilities on levels that usually are not so important. Nobody thinks that to pay attention to the body is important. Nobody thinks that you have to go and learn how to deal with fear. Okay? We usually think about other things, and we try to understand trauma, and understanding, as I said, doesn't manage to create an impact on the trauma so that the body can really get rid of it.